Hello, everybody. We are live on Facebook. Hello, welcome to the Black 10K Project, or the 10K Project, I should say. Black 10K Project on Facebook, on Instagram, Black 10K Project. We do have our YouTube channel as well. So if you guys like YouTube, you can check out the replays there. I am here with the beautiful Tawana Rivers, our Chief Operating Officer, and Dr. Keisha Waddell, our Chief Instructional,
Officer.
Officer, yes, our Chief Instructional Officer. So I want to welcome everyone here tonight to our weekly live Q&A session. I know that one of our other officers, Talisha, is in the chat, so want to say hello to her. While you are listening to us, please put your city and state in the chat so that we can know who you are. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know Tawana's in the chat and I'm there as well, so we can see you. So please tell us your city and state, who you are, your city and state in the chat so we can acknowledge you. It also lets us know who's coming in and where you're coming from so that we can know what parts of the US map and abroad that we are hitting. So what I'd like to be able to do today is a couple of things. Number one is for us to welcome the mighty 150. We had a 1 month goal of getting our first 150 members and we did it in a week. So we cannot thank all of you enough. I did my shout outs between Wednesday and yesterday to the mighty 150. So thank you so much to all of you. I did have to send a supplemental email. I know that there's an issue with the link. We are still, please forgive us. We're still going through our technical issues and glitches so that when we start adding hundreds of people a day to this platform, which we know we're going to do, we have some upcoming announcements in the next couple of weeks so that you'll know how serious we are. But we're asking our mighty 150 to please just bear with us. Thank you so much for trusting in us. We promise to get these little technical glitches taken care of so that when we do add 10,000 members to this, we're so strong. We're customer centric. You are our customers, you're our clients, you're our friends, you're our network, you're our community. And we want to make sure that we are taking care of all of you. So don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you, know what city and state you are coming from. So I see Miss Vivian here. Thank you so much. Please put your city and state in the chat so we can acknowledge you. So we're going to talk about the 10K Project, bring everybody up to speed, who we are, what we're doing. And then Tawana has the topic of the day around our community guidelines. So she is going to lead that off. And I'm going to call her the controversy in the comment section, but I don't think it'll be controversial. But Shanette, how you doing? Ansel, how you doing? T, how you doing from West Palm Beach? Ooh, I got to come visit you sometime. Got Charlotte, North Carolina in here. Got Talisha in here from Virginia. We got Indianapolis in here. Welcome to everybody. Okay, got Brooklyn in the house. The Boogie Down.
Yeah.
How you doing, Deborah?
Boogie Down is the Bronx.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's Brooklyn then?
Don't mess that up.
Okay. The Bronx. Your correction.
I'm sorry, Deborah, and I'm sorry, Tawana. I'm a Harlem girl personally. My grandmother lived in Harlem for much of her life. So all righty then. So what I'd like to do is be able to go through, I'd say a 6 to 7 minute pitch, not really a pitch, just a presentation, make sure everybody's up to speed on what the 10K Project is. We have some announcements. So, look at the presentation for that, because we have some big announcements that we are presenting to you tonight. And then I'm going to have Tawana and Dr. Keisha introduce themselves, talk about why they're part of the 10K Project. And then we're going to have our topic of the day. So yes, Deborah, Boogie Down is the Bronx. I completely apologize for that. Won't make that mistake again. All right then, so let's come here to the 10K project and talk about who we are and what we are doing. So the 10K project is a community where Black investors fund Black businesses for as little as $100. And this idea came about because Black businesses are less likely to get funding. I was a business plan writer for close to a decade. I worked with a lot of different businesses out there, different founders, different types of businesses, different ethnicities of founders, etc. One of the things that I'd always ask my entrepreneurs as they were coming to me was, who are you going to present this business plan to? I can do a great job of writing a business plan for you, but who are you going to present it to? And people from other ethnicities would usually have an aunt, an uncle, a frat brother, a venture capitalist they knew, etc. And they were able to raise money. A lot of our people didn't have those networks. It didn't mean that they didn't hustle hard. It didn't mean that they weren't hard workers. It didn't mean that once they had the money, they wouldn't be able to do a great job of turning that money into 10x, 20x, etc. It just meant that they didn't have the opportunity. And I was saying for the past 2 years to this group of people, my co-founders, I kept saying, if 10,000 of us get together, we put in $100 each, that's $1 million. We could start funding our own businesses. And one of the things that Tawana asked me in a meeting was, well, why don't you do this? And I said, well, there's no way I could do this by myself. So they said, okay, my other 4 co-founders said, we'll do this with you. And that was how the 10K project came to be. So when we started putting together our own business plan and doing our own research, there was a Morgan Stanley report that came out a couple of years ago. And it said that when our businesses are properly funded, we have just as good of a chance in business, in making profits, in growing our businesses as any other ethnic group. That Morgan Stanley report also said when they talked to top angel investors and other funders and said, hey, we found this piece of information. Are you interested in funding more minority-owned businesses? They said, no. So I believe that we can be the ones to fill that gap. So again, when 10,000 of us get together, we put in $100 each, we can raise $1 million, we can fund our own companies, we can create jobs in the community, and we can profit from our own innovation. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have here. So we can be the solution to our own issue, and we as a community can earn return on investment within these businesses. So we're building what's called a crowdfunding portal. Crowdfunding is very simple. It is when a group of people get together and they put in small amounts of money in order to raise a whole pot of money to do something with it. So crowdfunding is not new to the Black community. My grandmother and her church had the building fund. If all of us remember the building fund, right? Pastor would come out, say, hey, we need a roof. Brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, can you put some money in the special offering plate? Y'all know, you grew up in the Black church, you know. And what would they do? They would pass along a collection plate, a whole bunch of people putting in small amounts of money. Next thing you know, the roof would be paid for and built. This is the same type of idea. However, the Jobs Act of 2012 is the legal foundation for this. And it was signed by President Obama. And what it did was it made crowdfunding available to those of us who don't make millions of dollars a year, those of us who don't have high net worths, just regular people. So what it did technically was it said that people beforehand, people who were accredited investors, meaning they had a net worth of $1 million excluding their primary home, or they made 200,000 as a single person or 300,000 as a married couple, those were the people who could get all of these great deals. And the Jobs Act of 2012 changed all of that. And it allowed us to build what's called a crowdfunding portal. However, it requires something called the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. In order for us to have this crowdfunding portal, we have to go through approval through the SEC. So that is what we are doing right now. We're talking with an attorney, and we are going through that process of completing all of that paperwork. So let's talk about how the 10K project works. It's 5 steps. The first is membership. In order to participate in our ecosystem, you need to be a member. Membership is a one-time, lifetime fee of $100. You'll never ever be charged for membership again. When you become a member, you get to receive investor education. That's going to start in the fall of 2020. Investor education is going to include some financial literacy because it's culturally relevant investor education. So we want to have some financial literacy to make sure that everyone has a strong foundation. And it will include some of the best practices that professional investors use in order to determine if they're going to invest in a company. So things like, what's the market what's the total market of that company? Who are they selling to? What are they selling? Who are their competitors? How do you get your money back? What's the liquidity event? All of those things will be discussed during investor education. Then once we're SEC approved, we're going to have something called Bet on Black pitches. And Bet on Black pitches we're going to start off once a week. There will be an entrepreneur of the week. They'll be able to come online to a platform and they will pitch their business. They will tell you all about their business, again, what their products or services are, have they made any money, answer questions about their financials, talk about how we get our money back, when can we expect to get our money back, how do we expect to get our money back. All of those items will be discussed in the pitch. And then once that person has delivered their pitch, the audience, meaning you, get a chance to ask that entrepreneur questions. And then even after the pitch is over, after that live pitch is over, you'll still have an opportunity to ask the entrepreneur additional questions. So let's say you forget something during the live pitch, no problem. You are able to go back, and this is SEC required, so this is on the platform. You are able to go back and say, hey, I forgot to ask you this question during the live Q&A. And that entrepreneur should respond to your question, okay? Part 4 is the business support after funding. So we've talked about the fact that entrepreneurs can raise up to, really the law says, $1,070,000. After that business receives funding, we don't want them to just flounder and not have a network of great team members who can help them grow. So if they need a CPA, if they need an intellectual property attorney, if they need somebody to help them with digital marketing, someone to help them with packaging so that they can get on the shelves of Walmart or Target, we are creating a network of partners who will be available to those businesses to support them after they have received their funding. And then the final step is return on investment. That's how we get our money back. We get our money back through something called a liquidity event. And these are things that are going to be taught in investor education. There are three primary ways that we get our money back. Number one is the company goes public, is what it's called, going on the stock exchange, whether it's the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, or another stock exchange that's out there. Number two, the company is sold. They're acquired, okay? So you'll hear about different companies that are sold for 30 million, 50 million, $100 million, et cetera. So that's another way that we as investors get our money back. The third way we can get our money back is through something called dividends. That is, if the person doesn't want to sell their business, they don't want to go public, but they make enough profit, they will give us dividends. Now, I will say this, and Tawana always talks about this, we cannot guarantee return on investment. This is not that type of ecosystem that we have. So every investment has a risk. However, what we will do within the investor education is we will give you the best practices that professional investors use in order to evaluate companies. And even the best professional investors, I had a professional investor tell me this once a long time ago. She said for every 10 companies that she invests in, she expects 6 of them to fail, 3 of them to do moderately okay, meaning she just gets her money back, and 1 of them to do really well. So if you ever hear of companies that, or people that invested early on in Twitter or in Uber or in these tech companies or, in certain types of natural products or things like that, a big part of the reason is because they were in the right place at the right time. So we want the 10K project to be the right place at the right time. We want the best of the best, most innovative entrepreneurs. And innovation doesn't just mean tech. It can mean manufacturing. It could mean hair care, beauty, services, products, geriatric services, child services, education, any type of industry. We're looking for the best of the best businesses in America, because we do have to cater to American-owned company. Those are SEC regulations. So we have a few milestones coming up. Membership is open, so I'm going to plug that, the10kproject.com. You can click on Become a Member. On June 15th, we are going to open up our members only area, and we will have some exclusive content and other things that will be there. So June 15th, I'm going to ask everybody, if you're on the fence about becoming a member, you'll definitely want to do it. Summer and fall of 2020, we are going to have our publicity tour. So I have seen the comments that, hey, if you guys advertise, then we can have a lot more people in our group. And you're absolutely right. We do plan on doing that. However, we are spending the next 2 to 4 weeks reviewing some of the technical issues that we're having. And they're not bad issues. They're just little tweaks that we have to make as a startup. So anytime you set up a new type of technology or a new funnel, there are just tweaks you have to make. So we're going to ask everyone to be patient with us. But we have hired a publicist that is phenomenal. And that's all I can say right now. We're going to release that information in a couple of weeks. And when we do, you will see why we're so excited and so confident about the fact that this group is going to grow exponentially during the months of July, August, and September. In the fall, investor education will begin, and also we're going to release the Business Owner's Guide to being on our crowdfunding platform. That's going to be released in the fall. We will have a date scheduled probably at the end of summer so that all of you will know when that is going to be released. So I am getting emails from many of you who are filling in on the 10kproject.com. There is an area for entrepreneurs. Please complete that because we're adding you to our list of entrepreneurs. And when this guide is released, we'll make sure that you get your copy of it. And then the final thing is we are going through SEC and FINRA approval. We expect that to happen spring 2021 at the latest. So we need just a couple of things in terms of help. Number one is becoming a founding member. Again, the 10K Project to become a founding member. Also, you can join us on Facebook and Instagram, Black 10K Project on both portals. Share the 10K Project with family and friends. And the new one that we have is, we really need your help. Dr. Keisha is in charge of helping us reach out to the community. So any community leaders, church leaders, if you have a pastor who's very entrepreneurial, if you know of a Greek organizational leader, they can be citywide, they could be statewide, they could be national. We would love an introduction to those individuals. Anybody who is very, very entrepreneurial focused or Black financial literacy focused, we would love an introduction to them. So with that, I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to have Tawana introduce herself and tell us why you're part of the 10K Project and anything else I missed.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Tawana Rivers, the Chief Operating Officer. And every week, Cherie asked that question, and every week I say something different as to what my why is. and tonight's not going to be any different, because every time I think about this project and the state of the environment that we all live in, this project just keeps reinforcing the time is right. We are the right group to do this. And we have the community behind us that's continually building. We must save ourselves. I mean, that's the bottom line. We've been waiting and waiting for laws to change and rules to change and leadership to change. And it's not happening fast enough. And so the only thing I know to do is to get behind something that allows us to take ownership of even a small piece, right? A small piece and make a difference. And then someone else will take a small piece of something and make a difference, and then so on and so forth, right? These businesses that we will fund, not only will they be, some will be innovative, some may be life-changing, right? It may be the new life-changing gadget or a new life-changing technology, or, I think about just recently an investment I made in quantum physicists. Like it may be some new thing that we haven't heard of before. And we're going to be supporting that. And ultimately, those little things make a big impact. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for, because we need change. We need it now, and we need it to be by us, because there's a level of empowerment that we need to have in order to get back on track. These last few weeks for many of us have been draining. I am exhausted emotionally. And just this project fuels me, because I know it's going to make a difference. And it's equally as impactful as the people standing on the protest lines and the people at city halls all over this country fighting for justice. What we're doing is in line with that. And so that's my why. That's my why. I just want to add a couple of things that you said, Cherie. You talked about people wanting, maybe be on the fence when we move the actual members over to the new environment. There'll be some people that, and we'll still engage with all the people here, right? So we're not going to leave you behind. We're going to still engage with you. You just won't get some of those special things that the others will get. But what I wanted to ask people is, how can we help you make up your mind? If you are on the fence on, I don't know if I want to give up my $100 for membership. I don't know if it's worth it. I'm not really sure. What can we say, do, help you understand better? Because one of the things we're committed to is transparency. And so if there's anything we're not doing or not articulating properly, please don't hesitate to let us know. If you're on now, you can put it in the chat. If you think about it later when you watch the replay, you can put it in the comments. We'll be monitoring those. If you want to email us at info@10kproject.com, you can do that. You want to email us personally, DM us, you can do that. Just whatever it is you need to make sure you understand. Because when you make the conscious decision not to join, I don't want it to be because you didn't understand, right? That's my biggest. I always hate when people walk away from something because they didn't feel comfortable asking the question. And so we want you to know that you should feel comfortable, and we're available in any mode that you need us to be to help you get there. Right.
Thank you so much. And I meant to say hello to Daniel Addison, Tim Cottrell, Tangi, and Jackie, and Marvin Powell. So Marvin Powell is one of my mentors, and the fact that he's in here, I know all of us have mentors who are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're here. But Marvin Powell is somebody who helped me get started in business many, many years ago, probably about 15, 16 years ago. So glad to have him here. Deborah's asking, what is the cutoff to becoming a member? How long will people have to decide? So there is no true cutoff date, Deborah. We are going to have some of our, no, we're going to invite all of our members to a members only section of our ecosystem starting June 15th. That doesn't mean that after June 15th, if you decide to join, that you can't become a part of that. This is so important that we don't want to put a deadline on it. So there's no timeline. It's as long as you need to take in order to make a decision, which is fine. Some of you have known us for a couple of years and you're like, we trust them, you know, we want to work with you. Some of you are coming on and you can just see that we're hopefully trustworthy people. Hopefully you see that we're trustworthy people and you say, you know what, I'm on for this. Some of you, just like me, would have to take a couple of months, a year, you know, to see how this progresses. That is fine too. Just stay plugged in. And if you can go to the10kproject.com and sign up for the ebook, that is our email list. So with the ebook, you'll get a better understanding of the structure of the 10K project and everything that we're doing. And you also get on our email list so that as we hit certain milestones, you'll be informed about those too. So thank you, Marvin. So Marvin is asking, is the membership per individual or family unit? So it is an individual membership. It is an individual membership. I did have a woman call me and say that she wanted to pay for her grandson to be a part of the 10K project. So we're working on that now. Again, one of our technical tweaks that we have to do, working on it so that you can set up your membership. The membership name can be different from the card holder, credit card person's name. So I spoke with our tech person today and she's going to be working on that. That's one of the things that she is going to be putting in place for us this week. So thank you so much. Dr. Keisha, would you like to tell us who you are and why you're part of the 10K project?
Yes, Dr. Keisha here. And also I want to welcome Eric Spence, who just poked in there here. So rounding off our co-founders here a little bit. But just to kind of speak to adding on to what everybody's really said, really my involvement in the 10K project is really because I feel like this is that one major bridge and that one major leg to the stool of that allows us to sit strong as kings and queens and as you know, you know, in the innovative individuals that we are. You know, it's the economic piece is the big piece. We've done things in terms of, you know, our civics, you know, just all other angles. This piece right here, the economic piece, is the part that is the strength of our power. And everybody knows that part. You know, they all give us that part. That's the one thing everybody will give us. So here's our opportunity here's an opportunity for me to use my interest in educating people so that we can be really productive in leveraging the power that we have in terms of our economics. As we frame up our education program in this space, realize that it's going to be education that will span from the very beginning entrepreneur and the very beginning investor all the way to someone who is more advanced and very seasoned as both an investor or entrepreneur. Everything in between will be handled. And that's the part that I think is important. You know, we talk about what it is we need to do. We know how awesome we are, but there's just that bridge that needs to happen. And a lot of times that's education, that's the collaboration, putting together our ideas, and really coming together within a system that allows everything that we know we're able to do to happen. So I had to be a part of the 10K project because as Cherie would mention, the legislation has surrounded itself around us. You know, again, kind of takes an excuse away from us in terms of that. Again, we always know there's going to be something fighting against us. So, you know, come on, we fight. That's what we do. And still we rise constantly. There's always going to be something. So, you know, let's represent our ancestors. Let's get in here, and as they're looking down on us and around us with everything that we have available to us, let's just use it. Let's leverage it, and let's do it. So that's why I'm a part of anything that has to do with the economic empowerment of our communities, because I feel like that really is the last piece that we really have the strength in, that we haven't really exercised in the way that we could. So.
And the chat is saying amen.
Oh, well, amen. Amen. Pass the plate. Go to the10kproject.com and put that $100 in.
That's what she means. Sandra's asking, can someone purchase more than one membership? The answer is yes, you can. So give us a few days to get that together. So I'm assuming you mean a membership for yourself and a membership for a family member. Yes, you can do that. Again, give us a few days because we have to go back into the system and recalibrate it, set it up to be able to accept one credit card for multiple people.
Or
they can have their own profile and get on.
Or you can go ahead and cash app the $100 to that person you want to buy the membership for, and then they can put in their card information. But the challenge is right now, to Cherie's point, Stripe only collects the card member's name. Mm-hmm. And so the assumption right now is that the card member's name is the same as the membership name. And if you purchase more than one membership, we have no way of knowing the second membership name associated with that. So that's the workaround we have to figure out. But in the meantime, in between time, call them over and be like, come get this 100. And
go on in there and sign up and get your own profile. Because who knows, you know, the truth of the matter is maybe you, mom, may be interested in, you know, investing in something else. And now the child may be interested in something else, in which case you'll have two different portfolios. So you'll need a profile.
You'll need two separate profiles. Yeah. Absolutely, well, definitely.
Yeah, so get on in there and, like you said, Cash App. We know how to work it out. We use this technology. Cash App and get on in there and sign up. The10kproject.com.
Oh my goodness. So I have to put on my glasses here. Yeah, this is age here. So the phone screen is a little bit smaller than my eyes can take. So Eric, okay, so this is a funny story. Tawana was on the phone with me, or on Zoom with me. We did our first couple of media interviews last week. And one of the things that one of the gentlemen said who was interviewing us was, and y'all got a brother on here too as the founder. We said, yes, we do. So our brother here Mr. Eric Spence, the Chief Business Development Officer. He is the one, if you're an entrepreneur interested in getting on the platform, he is the one that is overseeing that. So Eric, introduce yourself to the family. You're on mute.
Okay, good. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Eric Spence. Yes, Chief Business Development Officer here at the 10K Project. Love here, locking arms in battle here with my sisters. Listen, I will say this. Let me just say this about Black entrepreneurship. I am not a person who will say that, Black entrepreneurship is the end all be all that will solve all of our problems. However, I will say it is definitely in the equation. It is definitely one of those things that is definitely in the equation. I believe in us. I believe in what we bring to the table. I believe in how we are able to step into entire industries, reshape businesses, our inventions, our ingenuity, our intellect, all of that. And I'm looking for that, especially in this time now. Oh, let's be honest, like we really need it. We really need it. And this is an inflection point that has happened in our history. This is a moment in time. And I really believe, we've been talking about this for the past few months. And, I've been in here and we've been talking about things post-COVID and industries post-COVID and businesses post-COVID and how they will then begin to move and how they will innovate in, in that new environment, in that atmosphere. This is an entirely different one too. And I want to, and I need us. It's something deep in my soul. I need us to get out and to do this thing. And I know that we can. So I'm looking forward. I'm really excited, looking forward for us to, just get engaged. And I'm looking for those great business entrepreneurs to step in and for us as a community to rally around them, to support them, and for them to go out and to be really successful.
And we can be, and we will be. And last week we had the great discussion. I'm sorry we can't have it again, even though we may have a members only discussion with regards to this. But we had the discussion about the fact that if Black consumers spend 10% more of their income in Black businesses, we would add 1 million Black jobs, and the fact that the #1 employer of Black people is the government, and #2 are Black businesses. And when I started really doing my research, we aren't doing so hot with Black businesses being able to hire Black people. And there are reasons for that. Maybe a members only thing that we have hint discussion. So, but Eric is so right about that. And I've never been somebody who believes that everybody should be entrepreneurs. I don't think that is wise. And I don't think being an entrepreneur is very, very hard. I've been one for like 15 years. It's hard. You work 24/7. So it's not for everybody. However, Black entrepreneurs will produce the majority of Black jobs one day if we stay on track, because, continuing to depend on the government for our jobs, in my opinion, is not the smartest thing for us to do. So
being dependent on anyone.
How about that? Yeah.
Anyone, because I don't work for the government, and working for anyone other than yourself right now is risky. I mean, it always has been. It's not even right now, right? There's always an event in time that gets you nervous, right? I've been at my job for 22 years, and I could probably think of a handful of times I was like, oh, is this the year?
Right? I know, right?
Yeah, I'm going to make the cut, because there have been cuts in 22 years. There have been a lot of cuts, a lot of different things happening. And, you sit on pins and needles wondering because you don't have control over it, right? Mm-hmm. So that worry comes from the lack of control. And so, I see things differently through 50-year-old eyes than I did through those other ages. Mm-hmm. And now is the time for the community to come together. That's what this is about. And we're seeing that this week. We are seeing the community come together. There's a group out who mobilized they're almost at 1 million people since last Wednesday.
That's
If
awesome.
we can come together for social change, just imagine what we can do when you put economics behind that. Really put economics behind that. I mean, it's when people say we can't work together, we can't get along, and all that other foolishness, they're lying to us because they want to keep us oppressed.
Exactly.
Right? They want us to believe that foolishness because they don't want us to believe in each other.
Right. And let me add to that too. Let me just add to the part where we all can get in. You guys mentioned that not everybody can be an entrepreneur, and that is so absolutely so. But we absolutely both can be consumers, and we are. And this is an opportunity to focus in a space where all of us are here. We can find out about our businesses and contribute in this way, to be sure. And that's when you can be on both sides of the fence. You know, it's a very empowering place to be.
Yeah. So, we can't all be entrepreneurs, but we can all be consumers, and we can all be investors. And I don't just mean investing in 10K, right?
Right.
I mean, be a real estate investor. Maybe you choose to buy and hold some property, and there may be some great real estate entrepreneurs that come to the platform, and that could be your way in if you don't have the $10, $20, $30,000 to put down on a house, right? You can invest. Everybody can be an investor in the stock market in some sort of way. And I'm not trying to tell people how to put their portfolios together. I'm just saying there are options. So, everybody can do these things, and you can, at least if you're going to have your government job for 30 years, which is great if you're able to do that, then you have your other streams of income on the side. The other thing, before I let Eric go, go ahead.
No, sure, go ahead, because I always do that to cut you off.
Oh, I was just going to say, the other thing is, we talked about, I want to share my screen again because I want to make sure that this is clear, because it's important. This business support after funding. Let's say that some of you are, great accountants, you're bookkeepers, you are digital marketers, you are business analysts, you have any kind of skill. One of the things that you can do is, if you have the experience and the expertise to help these businesses that are raising capital, you can help them after funding as well. So we did say that we have partner organizations that, because we, as an SEC approved crowdfunding platform, we cannot by law force businesses to do anything, but we can give them, and we'll be giving them a list of partner organizations that they can go to for support. You, as one of our investors and part of our ecosystem, can look at that list and say, hey, you know what? I want to help some of these businesses to support them after funding. And that could be a side gig for some people. That could be a new job opportunity for others. So I'm just putting that out there as well, that you have options. Eric, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Listen, let me just say this. I'm going to touch on this point because this is, like I said, and I mentioned earlier, this is a real inflection point. Let me just say this about us too, as Black people, as Black entrepreneurs, as Black business people. We do things different. And I mean that we have a different origin in the way that we approach things different. Last week, we did a talk, and I brought up Africa. And I brought up Africa and the fact that, there's a lot of investment in Africa, and a lot of people see Africa as this next, real focus of massive development. The truth of the matter is, a lot of that is coming from Asia, coming from China, and coming from Europe. Most of the time, when they do that, it will be a lot of the value will go one way. All right. When I talk about us doing things, because our whole approach is going to be different. It won't just be one person who's now sitting on a wad of cash that he made in Africa and now he's happy. No, I would want to see 10,000 Black American families doing business and commerce with 10,000 African families, okay? That's different. We approach it different like that. And that's why when I bring this up about us doing things different, because we begin to see things. Our whole approach about this is much more different than a lot of people do. So that's one thing that I do want to just bring up.
And I'm glad you mentioned the Africa thing again, because when I listened to the replay, we forgot the Caribbean. So I apologize to my Jamaican brothers and sisters, my Barbados brothers and sisters. Let's not forget about the Caribbean, because there is some cross international commerce. Haiti, all of these places, there are opportunities there as well. So we definitely want to include the Caribbean, and we want to, we talked about this last week, include Black people in Asia and in Europe and in South America as well. But we did forget the Caribbean, so.
Yeah, and let me say this too, that is not excluding. Like, no, if you want to create a business that only serves in Shreveport, Louisiana, that is 100% fine with me.
But you gotta
that's it.
Gotta hire us.
Yeah, you have to show that it's a profitable business model. Because that's what. So I want to answer Tangi's question first, and then I want to come to this point. So Tangi's question is: should we expect an ROI, or is the $100 just for membership? In which case, I shouldn't expect a real return. So Tangi, I want to break this down a little further, because we've gotten this question before, so it leads me to believe we're not being really clear. The membership is completely separate from investing. So the membership, the $100 membership that allows you to have access to the pitches that will take place, to the entrepreneurs that are going to come and deliver their investment opportunity to this community. That is what membership gets you. I like to call it a seat at the table, right? The table that we're very rarely invited to, where all the deals are made, when businesses are brand new. And then when we hear about it, they're already Twitter, right? And they're already worth $30 million and so on, right? So we're trying to get you
Billion.
Billion, yeah. We're trying to get you a view and exposure to those organizations beforehand. And so the $100 is not an investment in this platform. It is an investment in yourself, because it allows you a seat at the table. It also allows you to have education that we are going to provide. That is a one-time, lifetime $100. We will not charge you another membership renewal. We won't do a sneak attack and you get another $100 on your credit card next year. That's not going to happen. It is a one-time membership fee. So it gives you the exposure to education and then the exposure to the businesses that will pitch for us. In addition to that $100 investment in you, once we get SEC approval, SEC and FINRA approval, we will then be presenting those businesses that Eric's going to vet along with them meeting the SEC requirements. Those businesses will come and they will introduce their product and or service to us as a community. And as a community, you will be able to watch that pitch. You'll be able to ask questions. We're going to partner with a platform that allows it to be interactive. You're going to be able to ask questions. After that pitch, you're going to be able to email the business owner to ask additional questions if they didn't make it clear. You'll have access on our portal to their financials, to their business plan. All of those things are SEC requirements. They do have to disclose their financials to us, their audited financials to us. So we'll have access to all of that information, and you'll be able to determine if that business model fits the portfolio you're trying to build for yourself and your family. In those investment deals, the lowest you will ever, the minimum, I guess that's the better way to say it, the minimum investment will be $100. The maximum investment will be based on SEC requirements. So the SEC says if you make a certain amount of money, if you're considered an unaccredited investor versus an accredited investor, they cap how much you can invest per year. And so that's going to be different for all of us, right? Because we all make different salaries, we all have a different net worth. And so based on that, you'll be able to go as low as $100, but as high as the SEC says you can go, right? Those are the investments. In those deals, you will become equity owners. or you will have, it can be equity, it could be debt, it could be,
Those are the two choices.
yes,
Debt.
equity and debt.
Equity and debt. That's it.
And debt,
Yes.
right. So based on that, you will be able to have ownership in those companies. That's where your return on your investment comes in from a monetary standpoint. Now your ROI with the membership comes in because you're learning, right? We're providing that education. And so, in my mind, that's almost the unlimited ROI, because it's up to you how much you're willing to learn and what you can do with all of that knowledge outside of this platform. But from an investment ROI standpoint, with assets in hand, you get those from the businesses you invest in. So the $100 membership is the seat at the table. It does not include equity in this business. I hope I made that clear, Tangi. If not, you know how to reach me. You know where to find me, Tangi.
And for those of you who are watching, also reach out to us at the10kproject.com, come to the contact page and ask us those questions as well, or put them in the Facebook group, because that way we can explain them to everybody. So thank you. Tawana, did you have something else to say?
I think I was going to comment on something else Eric said, but now I can't remember what that was. Sorry.
So
Want me to spark it?
has
Want me to spark it
another-
back up? No, I said, want me to spark it back up? Like,
No, wait a second, Eric. So Lynn is saying making our own table. You are absolutely right, Lynn. We are making our own table, and we're going to bring the best of the best to our own table. Now, how do we get the best of the best? By having the numbers. By having the numbers. So a couple of things. When I say the numbers, I mean the numbers of people in our ecosystem, because we have a certain estimate with regards to how many businesses we can bring on the platform based on how many members we have in our ecosystem. So my vision is for us to move from one business a week to 2 businesses a week to multiple businesses a week. I believe the 10K Project could have 1 million active people. And when I say active, that doesn't mean that you're investing in everything on the platform. And it doesn't mean that you're necessarily investing every week or every month. However, for us to get the best entrepreneurs to come through, they have to say, I want to go over there because there are 1 million Black people over there. And this is where it's happening. So we are going to be putting an immense amount of resources over the summer and the fall into promoting the 10K Project, which is why we're so focused on getting our technical process and business processes right, because we know that there's going to be 200, 300, 500 people we intend to get on the biggest of the biggest platforms, not only in Black America, but in other ethnic media as well. And based on some announcements we'll make in the next couple of weeks, we'll tell you why. So we know that the 10K Project is going to be the next step in economic freedom for the community. Doesn't mean it'll be the only step. Doesn't mean, we're going to absolutely close the wealth gap. That's not what we're talking about here, but it is going to be the next step. And we know that with your help, we can do this. So that goes back to the ask that I had today. Any church leader any pastor who's entrepreneurial, any pastor who cares about financial literacy, I don't care if you have 5 members and you are meeting in the living room of somebody's house. My co-founders and I, we don't care how small or how large the congregation is, the community is, and meaning your city, your state, whatever. The podcast that you're listening to, I don't care if it's me and the host and the host mother listening, I will show up to do the interview, because I know the power of the host mother listening, going, I came here to hear my son do this interview, but I know XYZ person over here and they have a huge network and I want to invite Cherie to come over here. So no space too small. Churches, Greek organizations at the city level, the state level, if you know any Greek person who's active, please introduce them to us. Community organizers. We will do Zooms, we will, do Facebook lives, Instagram lives. I'm still trying to figure out my Instagram, but it's going to come together, YouTubes, podcast, whatever it is. If you have access to these people, please let us know. Dr. Keisha and I are building a massive list of people that we want to connect with between the months of July, August, and September, and we can't do it without your help.
May I add to
So-
that too, Cherie,
Mhm.
in the sense that we certainly are looking for numbers, but what we're really looking for is that quality mindset, that like-mindedness. You guys know, how you feel about it. That's the person we want. That person who can catch this vision, and we've talked about it, they've heard about it. Everybody agrees that the economic approach or agenda is the way for the Black man, the Black woman, for the Black community. Here is one such vehicle. As you mentioned, we are doing our part, in this huge process. We're doing our part. And so we want those people who are like-minded in that mission to join us.
Yes.
Yeah, and remember what Cherie said, this is about these businesses getting the funding that they so desperately need to scale this. We all know that friend that has the booming business idea, but he or she just can't get it off the ground, right? It's been in the basement for the last 10 years and it's doing okay. But we know, why aren't people buying this? Like, why aren't they hitting them up? It's because they don't have the money to scale, right? We also know that investors make millions of dollars in the investment game, right? Why can't those two parties come together in the Black community and close that? We may not eliminate the wealth gap tomorrow, but we will absolutely close it, because we're matching two parties together that need each other. We've got money. Businesses need funding, right? We need retirement money. We need college money for the kids. We need college money for the grandkids. We need money to buy the dream house. We need money to travel the world. Why not invest so that when these businesses blow up, right, we get equity that turns into a liquid asset? So we're a matchmaking service ultimately. I mean, it's equity crowdfunding, but that's what it is. You're matching people with a need to people with a need. And so, when you think about it that way, it's a very simple business model, but we are an equity crowdfunding platform. So there are some things we can't do. There are some things we can't say, right? Because we are the platform. But what we can do, as Cherie stated, is we can get you to the partnership people that can help you, right? They can help you after you get the money to make sure you're using it wisely to grow the business properly. Yeah. We can help you from an investor standpoint to make sure you understand all of the liquidity events that Cherie talked about, to make sure you understand money management and budget and financial literacy, so that when we start having these assets, what do you do with it, right? How do you secure it? Who do we need to tell we have it, right? So if something happens to us, who needs to know? Like, all of those things, we're going to educate you about all of those things so that lives can be changed for the better once those two parties come together.
Right. And I do want to say that you will, as an entrepreneur, you will receive the partnership list even before you get funding. So my suggestion is, don't wait until you get the funding to get your team together. If you are raising money, it's because you need it for certain purposes. Finding a team in advance and presenting that team gives you a better chance. It gives you a better chance of getting the funding you're looking for. I want to go back to Tangi because she has a question here. So if I like a business, I will be investing more of my money, or is it coming from the $1 million? So I can't answer that question exactly as you have it. I want to give a clearer explanation of this. So if you like a business, for any business on our platform, every entrepreneur agrees that the minimum investment that all investors can put in is $100 per person. However, you can invest more than $100 in any single deal. So you may say, well, what's the maximum? The maximum depends on you, okay, because everyone's different. So the SEC has a calculation which you'll be able to look at in the crowdfunding portal when it opens, and it will let you know the maximum amount of money that you can put into all deals over the course of a single year. And it's based on your income and your net worth, as Tawana said. The SEC also has a rule right now that the maximum amount of money that any business can raise using crowdfunding is $1,070,000. $1,070,000. That means if there are a lot of people who put in $500 because they really like that business, there's going to be fewer people led into that investment. So, but those are the numbers, and we do have to follow SEC law with regards to those two items. So the other thing is not every business that comes on the platform will raise $1 million. They may not need $1 million. It may not be fiscally prudent for them to raise $1 million. The minimum amount that any company can come onto our platform and raise is $10,000. We have set that as the minimum. So some businesses may say, hey, I need to complete my beta and I only need $30,000, my beta product. Some businesses may say, I've got a purchase order from Walmart and I need $200,000 to get my inventory and do some marketing. And that's fine too. Okay. So I hope that that was clear, Tangi. Let us know if we were not clear because I did want to answer that.
She said,
So Tawana, I want to give you a chance to go over the community guidelines. I know we're running a little late, but we have a lot of people still here in Facebook, so thank you so much. So Tawana, I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
Perfect. So, we're a growing community. We want to grow a lot bigger. And so as a result of that, we put some parameters in place. I want to say parameters and guidelines. I don't want to use the word rules because I know that rules always makes me cringe. I know sometimes makes other people cringe. So they are parameters and guidelines. Because what we want to create is a healthy ecosystem here. And so we put together 5 rules. Excuse me, I said rules. See, after I said I didn't want to say rules, I said rules. We put together
5 expectations.
5 there you go, Dr. Keisha. 5 expectations that we would love for everyone in this community to follow. And so the first one is really that knowing who we are. We are a community of investors and entrepreneurs. And what that means is that the focus here is always going to be business development, investing, financial literacy. We're going to talk about business news, trends. We're going to share inspirational stories, right? Because that's going to help our entrepreneurs push through when they come against barriers and they realize this is too much work. I know they said entrepreneurship is hard, but I didn't know it was this hard. We're going to have those inspirational stories out there so you can see those people who have struggled for years with an idea and finally they have it. I'm in another group and a young lady did a live the other day where she's finally on the shelves in Target. And she says she's been working for 9 years to try to get her product off the ground. And I don't know this lady from a can of soup. And I cried. I was so happy because she was so happy. Right. And as I watched her, she was like, look, she was on the showing the thing on the shelf. And she was like, look at this. And she told her story. And I cried with her because I was like, that's what this is about, And so, those inspirational stories will help us push through. Any post or comments to post unrelated to those things, unfortunately, we're going to have to remove them because they won't be in line with the community and what we're trying to build. Right. And so The other thing is, you know, the spirit in our culture is at its core Black empowerment, right? That is what this model is about. We didn't say we're going to match any old investor to any old business. That's not what we said. We said we're going to match Black entrepreneurs to Black investors and anyone else who wants to invest in that business, right? But that Black entrepreneur is what's going to be lifted up and highlighted. And so Black empowerment is the goal here. And so we're going to educate, we're going to encourage, we're going to be patient with one another, right? We're going to be patient with you, you're going to be patient with us, right? We're going to be respectful.
Patient with the process too.
Right, patient,
you know?
patient with the process, right? Because a lot of this is, you know, we're going to talk about this in the next parameter, but, you know, the SEC and FINRA approval is the end all be all here. You know, we want to be a registered and approved SEC FINRA crowdfunding platform. We're not just trying to do this, you know, on the side. We're not trying to be another GoFundMe where this is about the feel goodness of giving money. That's not what we're trying to build. What we're building is an equity crowdfunding platform, and you need the government's approval for that. And so be patient with the process. You're absolutely right, because once we file the paperwork, we wait. And given the times that we're in, we may wait a little longer than the last person waited before all of this. So that's why we give those time frames. You may say, when Cherie was going over the slide, fall seems so far from now. Why fall? Why spring of 2021? Oh, they playing games. They not for real. We are, right? But we know that the SEC and FINRA, they've got a pile up, you know, and so it may take longer than the usual 6 months that their website says it takes. So be patient, be respectful above anything else. We have to be respectful. This has to be based on the love of the culture and the love of our people. And if that's not where your heart is, then this is not the place for you. And I say that with all the love in my heart. And it's okay for us to decide this is not a good match, right? It's okay. There's no love lost when you say, I like you, but I don't love you enough to keep you around that long. And so when you feel like you need to be disrespectful to us, or you feel like we're not measuring up to your expectations, it's okay for you to leave. That's perfectly okay. But we will not tolerate disrespect or disruption to our community members and anyone here. We're working way too hard for that. So we do have a zero tolerance as it relates to that. You know, at the end of the day, we want this community to get ready, because closing the wealth gap is what we're trying to do. I said it, we're an equity crowdfunding platform. And so the SEC and FINRA is who we will answer to, right? We will do everything that they tell us we have to do to comply, and we do those things willingly. We are in the process of, you know, Cherie talked about the marketing team that we've already assembled. We have a contract getting ready to be agreed upon with SEC attorney. And we've got already agreements with SEC and crowdfunding consultants. We're getting ready to do our accountant search. So, you know, we are moving and treating this as the real business that it is. And so, you know, through that process, there will be some patience as well, because we are a startup as well, building a business. For entrepreneurs, the biggest parameter is start researching if equity crowdfunding is for you. Right? Because it's not for everyone, right? So try to see if make sure it's a good fit for you. And then if you decide, yeah, you know, I'm reading up on this seems like this will be good for me, start getting prepared, right? Start getting your affairs in order. Cherie said, start building your team if you don't already have one. Start getting your financials in order, because we will be looking for them. We'll be looking at them. Excellence is required in this process, right? We know the sauce is good, but the sauce can't still be in the bowl when you bring it and present it, right? The sauce got to be packaged. The sauce has to have a business plan to associate it. We need to see how many sauces have you sold? Who's your target audience for the sauce? What's your plan for the sauce, right? What's your plan for the business? What's your exit strategy for the business? Because we want to know as entrepreneurs, as investors, how are we going to get our money from this sauce? I know you say it's good, but how good is it? So we're not just saying anyone can do this. You have to be ready, and excellence is required, because this is an investment people are making. We don't want to own a piece of something worthless. We want to own a piece of something that's valued high, and has the ability to be valued exponentially, right? We're looking for the unicorn company. And so we owe that to our investor community. Who would we be if we built this community of 10,000, 20,000, 1 million people, and we brought them businesses that weren't viable? And
Let
so,
me add to that though, in terms of that patient process, that process exists with the investor as well. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. Okay, do keep that in mind as well. We're seeding businesses, so there's a process, to that. It takes time for that ROI to show up. We want to make sure that we're in a walled garden where that is going in that direction. But again, it takes time, seed time and harvest. But we expect to reap at some point, but not exactly right tomorrow. So keep that in mind too. It is a process being an investor. The delayed gratification, keep that in mind.
and that's part of that education, right? Because so
Indeed.
many people think it is, okay, I invested in a crowdfunding deal, the campaign closed. Now where's the money? How much we worth? Nothing yet, right? They have to build the business. They have to scale the business. They have to do things. So the expectation, but that's going to be part of the training. We're going to make sure we include all of that kind of stuff in our Investor 101 training so that people can understand what this process is like. The average crowdfunding business, probably 7 to 10 years before you see a return. So are you in it for the long game, right? And again, if you're not in it for the long game, maybe equity crowdfunding is not for you. Maybe you want to do something in a space, an investment space that has a faster rate of return. And those places exist, right? But it's not equity crowdfunding. For the investor, the other things to remember, is save your discretionary income, right? Because that's what you're going to be investing with. We do not want you to invest with essential financials, money that you need for your house, rent money, mortgage money. That's not an option for you to invest with that. So make sure you are organizing and getting prepared so that you have discretionary income to use for these investments. It's important for us, and we have a responsibility to make sure that you maintain a strong financial foundation for you and your family, right? And we're going to do our part to keep reminding you of that. We're not trying to discourage you, but what's more important to us is that this community rises together out of all of the poverty and the things that we're stricken with. And we would not be doing a good job if we said, bring that rent money because we're going to turn it, we're going to flip it. That's not true. And if anybody tells you that, they're not being honest with you, okay? We don't want to deceive you or mislead you. We want to educate you. And so if you don't have investment money yet, save it, get prepared. And you've got months because, right, we're waiting for SEC and FINRA approval. So you've got months to save a couple of $1,000s if you can for those first 5 or 6 or 7 deals, just to be able even to modestly invest in them, to feel them out. So this is the time for you to prepare. But being responsible is, I'm gonna say that one's a rule. Being responsible is a rule. We want responsible investors. And that was it, right? So we just have 5 parameters that we want people to respect. We believe they're reasonable. We believe they're fair, and that they will create a healthy ecosystem. Because once this group gets to multiple thousands of people, what I know to be true is the people who know us personally will be the minority, right? And so we had to put some parameters in place so that people coming in can know what to expect and what kind of group this was. And it doesn't mean you can't disagree, all of that stuff is healthy, right? I'm not saying, when I say disruptive, I don't mean disagree. Those are not synonymous.
Right, that's just being family.
Right, we can have controversial conversations and all of that stuff, as long as the SEC is kept in mind with them. But we get to have real honest conversations about real life. We just have to do it in a very respectful way.
Yeah, so thank you, Tawana. So we are going to post those guidelines in the Facebook group and in our ecosystem, our platform, everywhere. So we are about the business of the Black community and Black economic empowerment. So we know that there are other areas that we need to focus on within the Black community. All we wanted to say within the guidelines is that this is not going to be the place for those other areas. We do have the government looking at us in regards to, we have to expect that someone will come from the SEC and FINRA to look at our social media platforms. So we as founders have to walk a specific line in order to make sure that we're compliant with them. So Tangi is saying, thanks for stressing that this will be a long-term process, Tawana. Lynn is saying, oh, I think this is for Dr. Keisha, study, prepare, execute. Michael Thomas, you put your question in here a couple of times. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. So if you can email me info@the10kproject.com and give me a clearer understanding of what your question is. Mimi, hey Mimi, how you doing? Right seating is like incubator stage. So yeah. Now I will say this, some of the companies that are coming on will be pre-revenue, startup, super early stage. Other companies coming on will have been around for 30, 40 years. They've made money. Maybe they're starting a new line of business. Maybe they're expanding, expanding internationally, expanding to government contracts, expanding to the commercial side. All sorts of reasons people will be coming to the platform. So it's going to be an exciting ride. And I would suggest that everyone prepare for this to be a long ride. Not long in terms of how long it takes for you to get your return on investment back, which is 7 to 10 years, but long with regards to the fact that closing the wealth gap is not an overnight thing. Building a strong portfolio within this crowdfunding ecosystem of the 10K project is not an overnight thing as well. It's not even a one-year thing. And I'm not saying that because, we want you to put in $1 gazillion. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it is going to be important for you to have a healthy portfolio of different types of businesses within the 10K project and even outside of the 10K project in terms of crowdfunding, as well as having stocks and life insurance and other financial items within your portfolio. So we look at you as the whole person and not just what can the 5 of us get from you because of this platform. However, we also know, I believe it in my heart, that you are going to see businesses that you never knew existed, that you never knew you could even participate in. And we've talked about it before every other week, so I'll bring it up here. Your kids will see careers, opportunities, people they can look up to. It is going to have a ripple effect on them as well. There's no feeling like, as a business plan writer, this has happened to me, working with somebody before their business started and then going into the store and seeing their product on the shelf, or going into their restaurant and seeing it built and saying, I remember when it was writings on a piece of paper and look what you've done. There's no feeling like it in the world. And when you get that feeling, you'll be like, oh, now I get it. Now I want to do more with this. And your kids get to follow that journey as well.
Yeah, I got it from a lady crying that I didn't even know. I imagine if I would have known her.
And put money on it,
Yeah, put money.
Thank you. Shoot, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to go and have everybody just give their final 2 cents. I know we were here super long tonight, but I felt like tonight was still worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
Great questions.
Yeah.
there were great questions. We had 25 people, which is our biggest group of people yet. So, and y'all have stayed with us. So thank you so much. So with that, Eric, do you have any final comments for the family? And don't forget to unmute yourself.
Get myself right now. You know, y'all, hey, listen, this is the time to do it. This is the time too for especially for what this platform is in this building. I want everyone to be a part of it. Everyone is like-minded. I love what Tawana said earlier, just about patience, because it's going to take that. And but trust me, things will be done right. I know that. I know that from these ladies that I work alongside. They're incredibly meticulous. This will be done right. So just know that and have confidence in this platform and what's being built. We want you to be a part of it, and please be a part of this family.
Thank you. Tawana?
I just want to first shout out our Chief Technology Officer who's been hanging out in the chat. We missed her on screen tonight, but we absolutely cannot do this without her. So Talisha Shine, thank you for being a part of the founders and for everything that you do to help us do this. I just want to say to anyone that's going to watch this and anyone joining the community, it's time. It's time. No one's coming to save us, and we're already here, so why not save ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
What else we got to do?
And Dr. Keisha?
I just want to say to everybody watching the replay and for folks here today, keep asking your questions. Let us know what's on your mind, what's on your heart. Let us, answer those questions. Let us fill the gap. And we really appreciate everybody who's asked questions already. But sometimes you can come away from this situation, you have further questions. We don't mind that it's been asked several times. That gives us data that says, okay, maybe this is something we need to put on a FAQ. So ask the questions, okay? And if you have concerns, again, we're going to be respectful in couching those concerns within a meaningful question that we can address. So we really get to the meat of what it is your concern is. So, again, yeah. Keep involving yourself in this process. It's a two-way street. We are absolutely looking to support us through the process, from this startup, ideation stage all the way through, so keep talking to us, keep engaging. Thanks so much so far too.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who has agreed to share. So Marvin, I see you talking about LinkedIn and you want to help us blow this up. We appreciate it. So I will be in touch with you with the links and the information you need for that. And I'll probably also call you as well. So the final couple of things. Number one, if you are not a founding member yet, please become a founding member. Go to the10kproject.com, click on become a member. It's $100, one-time lifetime membership into our ecosystem. On June 15th, we are setting up something special for our members. So if you want to be a part of that group, June 15th, is when that is going to be set up. We'll be sending the emails and everything with regards to that. And the third and final thing, no group too small, right? Churches, sororities, fraternities, communities, you got a book club, you got a garden club, you got a family reunion, anybody, everybody will meet you on Zoom, we'll meet you on Google Hangout, we'll take a conference call with you. You let us know when and where. I don't do like 3 o'clock in the morning, but you let us know when and where, and we'll be there morning, noon, and reasonable hours at night. We're on East Coast time. That's why I was saying about the 3 o'clock in the morning, because I know some people are on the West Coast. Anyway, so yes.
You can certainly get information to them that will work for us while we sleep. So
yes, we will. Yes. So we have some people that we work with on the West Coast, and some of the calls have been kind of late over the past week. So that's kind of why I was thinking about that. But yes, please let us know. You can come to the10kproject.com, fill out the contact form, or you can do a virtual introduction with me I'm at info@the10kproject.com. That's my email. Thank you so much. God bless everybody. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Take care, everybody.
Good
Night.
night.